Moving to Nashville and have no clue what part of town you want to be in, today we're going to take a 30,000-foot view of Davidson County and help you get some clarity on where you want to live in Nashville, Tennessee. See you on the inside. Hey, if you're new to this channel and you want to know everything there is about eating, sleeping, working, playing, the good, the bad, the ugly, the pretty of living in Nashville, Tennessee, then don't forget to hit the subscribe button below. Click that bell so you're notified every time we put out content and you can stay on top of what's happening in the Nashville, Tennessee real estate market. I'm Scott Hardesty, and as a real estate consultant, we get emails, texts, phone calls every single day from people just like you, and we absolutely love it. If you are looking to move to this area, please give us a call, shoot us a text, send us an email. I don't have a fax number anymore, so sorry about that if that's your only way to communicate. But we would love to hear from you and help you make your transition from wherever you are in the world to here in Nashville, Tennessee as smooth as possible. So we mentioned we're going to look at some different neighborhoods in Nashville, and Davidson County covers all of Nashville. That's where we're going to focus today. And we're going to move quickly all the way around the city. We're going to start on the east side and work our way all the way around, give you that high level view of Nashville. And so this will help you have some more clarity on where you want to be. So let's get started. I'm going to pull my map up here and we're going to dive in that way so I can show you what I'm talking about. Let's go. All right, let's get started. You can see Davidson County outlined here with a dotted red line. That's what we're going to focus on today. There's tons of suburbs around Nashville, obviously, which are great. I'll do another video about those suburbs at another time. But today we're just going to focus on the inside of this dotted line. I want to start on the east side, mainly because the airport is on the east side and that's what you'll be flying into. Nashville International Airport right here. I will say they're doing a huge renovation right now to that airport. The airport grows as the city grows. They'll be doing a new hotel next year. I think it'll be completed next year. They just did a new car garage. And it's honestly, I don't even recognize it anymore. It used to be so easy to get where I was going, and now everything's moved around. It also takes a little longer to get to your airplane right now. So I used to go and I try to get there about 10 minutes before my plane takes off. And I've had to get there a little early, especially on the weekends, Sunday when all the tourists are leaving Nashville, and then Thursday and Friday when a lot of tourists are coming into town. It just gets backed up all the way down the interstate. I do have some side ways to get there if you're interested. Thought about doing a video on traffic secrets, but we'll do that another time. The airport is on the east side here, and you're kind of over here in Donaldson and Hermitage. So let's start over here, again, the east side. Hermitage has a city feel separate from Nashville. So it's kind of its own little suburb, really, even though it's in Davidson County. You have a lot of apartments, a lot of condos, a lot of houses. Some notable things that are in this area: Andrew Jackson's Hermitage. It's a pretty cool place, President Jackson from back in the day, and you can actually still tour this house. It's really cool, actually, if you like history. My wife loves Halloween, which it's actually Halloween today, and they do tours of the grounds and inside the house, kind of related to some ghost stories, but with some historical elements to it, which is pretty cool. So that's something that Hermitage has. They have golf courses. They have everything that you need. Prices over here are some of the most affordable in Davidson County. Really, the east side here is what you'll find. If you're budget friendly, think about this side. There's some other pockets as well that have some more affordable housing, but the east side is going to be some of where you'll find a lot of that. You're also close to Grand Ole Opry. So you have the Grand Ole Opry. You also have the Opry Land Hotel. Especially around Christmas, they'll decorate the trees and everything. I mean, it's like a forest inside the hotel. If you've never been to the hotel, it's definitely worth going to. And then we also have Opry Mills Mall here, which is a huge mall. I think it's like a lot of the discount stores are in there, so you can get some affordable things at this mall. The convention center also has a new water park, which is pretty cool. I haven't been yet, but I've heard it's awesome. Just indoor water park you can do the surfing and all that fun stuff there. So cool area if you haven't been. And then there's a lot of restaurants and things around that area as well. They have another wave pool even over here, and golf courses and all that fun stuff. Let's come down. I'm gonna go south from here. Donaldson is a little closer to downtown Nashville. This to me has a a small town feel, but you're 3 miles from Broadway. You also have everything you need. You have the Publix, you have a Kroger over here, and then you have a lot of local shops, restaurants, and just different shops that you can go to. They have a little area that you can walk. You can walk around Donaldson now, and it's a really cool place. I really like Donaldson. Again, you have a small town feel, but you're really close to Nashville. So here you have Percy Priest Lake. We have Percy Priest, and then the other close one that's not in Davidson County is Old Hickory, and that's attached to the Cumberland River. So Old Hickory Lake is up here. Percy Priest Lake is down here. So this is really the only one in Davidson County, and they're both man-made. I have a boat here on Percy Priest Lake, a sailboat. I love it out there. There's an area where my boat is at Shipwreck Cove, and they have a really cool restaurant on the water. They have live music that plays usually on the weekends. I think in the summer they might play every day, but really fun atmosphere. If you do have a boat, there's a place out here called Party Cove where a lot of the boats will just go out and tie up and hang out all day. So it's really fun. You do have Bear Island here, which is cool. I didn't notice this until I flew over it one time, that you can see it here. It looks like a bear there, but I didn't really notice it until I flew over it and I could see that it looked like a bear. And I was like, oh, that's Bear Island. That's why they call it Bear Island. But you can actually come out here and camp. I've camped on this island before, which is really cool. And it's fun. Yeah, it's a fun lake. They have some other places you can hike and walk around and stuff like that too around here. This other side here is Long Hunter State Park. You can camp there. You can do a lot of hiking over there as well. Let's keep going south. So we're going to kind of stick to the outside first, and then we'll slowly come back in. This area down here, you're getting into the Antioch area. It comes all the way down here to the Cane Ridge area. This is more affordable housing, an area to keep an eye out if that's important to you. I will say Interstate 24, to me, this is just my opinion. It's actually, you could probably back it up by some kind of fact somewhere, but it's the worst interstate. I hate going on 24. Granted, Nashville's traffic is a problem these days, but 24 to me is the worst interstate to drive. I hate it. It'll take you all the way down to Murfreesboro and to Chattanooga if you keep going, which is about 2 hours from Nashville. But that's just something to keep in mind if you are looking down in this area and you have to work downtown. Just know that traffic, you may have to leave a lot earlier than you're expecting. Just something to think about. So let's zoom in a little bit here, close to this Antioch area. You do have coming up a little bit. You have the Nashville Zoo, they've done a very good job with the zoo, and they continue to add new animals and new exhibits and things like that. So it's a really fun place to go, and they'll do different events at night as well. They have something around Christmas where they bring in a lot of lights, and it's open for probably a month and a half. We like to go to that. I will say too, some of these streets, so Nolensville Pike, a lot of the streets in downtown, they start with numbers, so like First Street, Second Street, all the way over to 21st Street. As they go out of the city, they turn into different names. So Nolensville Pike is Second Avenue South. So if you take this all the way up, you can see here it's Second Avenue South, and it just turns into Nolensville Pike. This is a cool area. You come down, you have a little area here called Woodbine, which is a really cool little pocket right there. But if you keep coming down here, so I think Anthony Bourdain did an episode on Nolensville Road, and it was like a mile strip of Nolensville Pike where he said that some of the best restaurants in one concentrated area that he's seen. There's a ton of really good food on this street. KNS World Market, you have that. So you have a lot of different options of ethnic foods, things like that. A lot of the variety there, which is cool. Okay, so let's go over a little bit further. You can see Brentwood here. A lot of people are confused about Brentwood, trying to figure out where it is as far as counties go. Part of Brentwood is in Davidson County over here, and then the majority of it is south in Williamson County. Something to know is that the schools in Williamson County, a lot of people move to Williamson County for the schools. So if you're right on this line, you're going to want to know if you're in Davidson County or Williamson County, because it will determine what school you go to. If you're on the north side of this line, you're going to be in Davidson County schools. So something to know when you move here. This is Old Hickory Boulevard right here. To me, it's a good defining line of, okay, we're getting close to Williamson County here. So obviously it dips down this way over here, drops way down over here. But Old Hickory Boulevard here has a lot of shops, restaurants, everything. You have a little area over here called Nipper's Corner, which is right here by Edmondson Pike, which you have several shops, and you have the Publix, the Kroger. Over here you have the Lowe's. You got your Chick-fil-A here. It's a good spot. I will say Old Hickory does get busy. So in the mornings and in the afternoons and rush hour, Old Hickory here gets really congested. So does Nolensville Pike. Honestly, if you live down over here, Lenox Village, this is a cool area that has its own little shopping area here with restaurants and everything. This area to get up to downtown it's a beast. So you could either go all the way up Second, Nolensville to Second, or cut across here and go up 65. It's not great. If you are working in Nashville or downtown Nashville, just know that you're going to have to leave a little earlier if you have to be downtown during rush hour. All right, so let's keep moving. So as you get over to the west side of town, south of town and west, it gets more expensive. And I'm not really talking about downtown, just, like I said, the east side of town, and I'm not talking about East Nashville either. We'll get to East Nashville. East Nashville is separate from what I'm talking about when I say east of town, as far as pricing goes. But as you get over to the west side, it gets a lot more expensive. So especially through here, you have Oak Hill, one of my favorite areas of town. You have huge houses, huge lots, and you're really close to everything. So you can hop on 8th Avenue, which turns into Franklin Pike, right? So this takes you everywhere. If you're in Oak Hill, you have to pay to be in Oak Hill, just to let you know. And also some of these areas too, Oak Hill, Forest Hills, Belmead, they have their own mayors and different governing bodies, their own commissioners and things. So something to keep in mind if you do move into an area like this, you want to know what the rules are going to be if you need to come in and do some renovations, or if you want to tear a house down and build something. It's important to know who you have to go talk to, and then how strict they are. Are they open to these kind of things? It's important to know those things before you get here instead of finding out later. Oak Hill, Forest Hills over here, Belmead. Belmead was in the top 5 wealthiest areas in the country. I don't know where it is now, but I'm sure it's still in the top 10. But this is just a beautiful area over here. You have Harpeth Hills Golf Course. You have Radnor Lake State Park, which is a beautiful, you can walk around this lake here. There's an observatory that you can go to. You have to book it well in advance, but you can go and look at the stars, which is pretty awesome. I love it over here. It's beautiful, but again, you got to pay for it. The Bluebird Cafe, this is getting into Green Hills area. So once you get up here, you have some universities. You have Lipscomb that's coming up over here. You have Belmont. It's coming in over here. You can see it up here, Belmont and Vanderbilt. This area right here, Green Hills, I actually did a video on Green Hills about that little area. So if you want to know more about Green Hills, check that out. But you have the mall right here, kind of that main hub there. Hillsborough Pike right here gets crazy congested because of Green Hills, but you can quickly find a few different ways to come around to get to the mall, like some of these side streets. Here's Lipscomb University here. This is a great area. It's a very desirable area, partly because you're very close to downtown here. You can see, once you get inside the 440 loop here, here's that 440 loop. I mean, you're really getting close to downtown at that point. This area here, you're close to it. You're just south of that 440 loop. This is a great area. Everything you need over here, really. I mean, Green Hills has everything. Trader Joe's, Whole Foods, everything that you want or need there. You never have to leave Green Hills if you don't want to. You're still close to downtown. So if you do have to work downtown, that's a great spot. And all this down here too, you're really not that far from downtown. Or if you need to go down to Cool Springs or Franklin, if you're in this pocket over here, you're pretty close to all that as well. Here you have Cheekwood, which is a beautiful area. They have events all year long. They just had one where you can bring your dog and hang out. That's a lot of fun. But just lots of parks, lots of hills. It's they call them rolling hills here in Middle Tennessee, and you just have a lot of that through here. Tyne Boulevard. This is a beautiful street here. If you drive that, just the houses and the atmosphere there is just awesome. Once you go west here, you get into Westmead. You have Hillwood Country Club, which is a really nice country club, and the houses over here are just beautiful. So 40 West. So from downtown, you take 40 West, and it takes you to Hillwood. It takes you to the areas over here through Belmead. It'll take you all the way down to Bellevue. Bellevue is its own little city as well. I mean, you don't really have to ever leave Bellevue. You have everything you need there. Pricing is still somewhat affordable. It's gone up pretty quickly over the last few years, which I guess everything has. Yeah, it's nice. They had a mall that was closed down for a while. I don't know if it's open yet, honestly. But this area, there's a lot of action going on in Bellevue. What I love about Bellevue too is 40 West, the interstate, is my favorite interstate as far as traffic goes. Of course, I'm assuming that will change, but today 40 West is the best interstate to come into town on. I've sold houses out here west, Kingston Springs and White Bluff, even to people who work downtown, they say it's not that bad. It takes them 20 to 30 minutes from out here to get to downtown. Obviously, if there's traffic, that may take longer, but I like the west side of town, and it's just beautiful through. You see all this green. I mean, it's just beautiful. And you come up here, you know, you see you have the Cumberland River coming through. Up here, you're going towards Ashland City. That's a beautiful area. So west of town, keep an eye on. It's beautiful that way. All right, let's get a little closer into the city now. So coming back up 40 east into town, you have the Nations here. This is an interesting area, and that's a terrible picture of the Nations. But what's happened in the Nations is you had all these smaller homes, not very nice homes, honestly, most of them. And because of the lot size, builders were able to come in, tear that house down, and build what we call tall skinnies. And so if you go into the Nations, you'll see what I'm talking about. I mean, almost every street now is just tall skinnies. To me, it actually looks better than it used to. If you're going to tear down something nice and historic, to me, I would have a problem with that. But honestly, the Nations, it was houses that weren't in that great of shape. So I think they've done a really cool job in the Nation. It's a cool area. So you have 51st Street here, and you have a lot of the restaurants and things here. You have Frothy Monkey, which is one of my favorite coffee shops in town. There's a few of them. There's one in 12 South. There's one downtown Franklin. You have a bunch, just different restaurants and coffee shops here. Tons of development still going on here. You have some condo projects going on over here. And up here, you have an apartment complex here, but it's very, very well done. Bringle Smoking Oasis. Here you got the 51st North Tap Room. A lot of fun stuff. You'll see people walking all through here with their dogs, and it's a cool place. The prices have gone up significantly. I remember I sold one of the first houses that was above 500,000. I was a little nervous, but I mean, they've just gone way past that over the last 4 or 5 years. But what's happened with these, again, and we call them HPRs, so horizontal property regime, is when you tear down one house and build two tall skinnies. But what's happened is, as there's no more space over here, developers have just continued to go west. You have this road here is 155, which is Briley Parkway. On the west side of Briley, you have Charlotte Park. So a lot of that same development is happening in Charlotte Park now that we saw in the Nations, and really all the way over to the river here. This whole area here is just, there's a lot of development going on. Blue Moon Waterfront Grill is a cool spot in this marina. Another cool thing too about this area is that the Nations is just north of Charlotte. So Charlotte Pike here has tons of restaurants, tons of development happening. So you got I say infamous Hattie B's here because it burns your mouth. ML Rose. You have tons of restaurants here. Climb Nashville is a cool indoor climbing spot. You have so many good restaurants and activities to do here on Charlotte, and Charlotte takes you right downtown as well. So another good thing too is if 40's backed up, you can just take Charlotte all the way in. So there's the Nations. Just south of the Nations on the south side of Charlotte is Sylvan Park and Sylvan Heights. I did a video on Sylvan Heights too. Sorry, Sylvan Park, if you're interested in that area. That's a little more in depth about this area. But you have McCabe Golf Course here. You also have the Greenway. So there's walking trails that go around this park. And that Greenway, you'll see the Greenway, the goal is to have the Greenway connected all through the city. And so the Greenway is in a lot of different spots, but you can ride your bike, you can walk your dog, and it's beautiful. This area, this one right here, they've done a really good job with. The McCabe Golf Course is a good place for someone like me to practice. It's a good spot and just beautiful area here. Cherokee Park is a very beautiful, well-established neighborhood. And then Richland here, all of this is big money. It's not cheap to be in this area. Here you have West End, 70 South is West End. And that takes you right into the city as well. Once you get here into the city, you really have everything you need. You're coming into Vanderbilt University right here. Just here by Vanderbilt, you have the Parthenon, which is a cool area. I'd highly recommend touring in that space. And if you didn't know, Nashville is considered the Athens of the South because of all the universities that we have here. So we have some books down here. I don't know what you heard about the South, but we have some education down here. So keep that in mind too. But we have a ton of universities. This area right here, obviously Vanderbilt is ranked as the best one if you're looking at actual rankings. But the Parthenon too, this also has outdoor sand volleyball courts, a complex here where you can ice skate. They have hockey leagues. They have tennis courts outside, pickleball, which I have not played yet, but it's on my list. But this area right here is just beautiful. And you'll see too, the West End comes here all the way into Broadway. Here's Broadway. So coming back out, if you're right here on Broadway and you're coming west, it splits right here. Broadway stays to the left and turns into 21st and West End on the right. If you keep going down 21st, then you have Hillsborough Village. This area was really cool. And then when you cross over 440, that turns into Hillsborough Pike, takes you into Green Hills. Like I said, a lot of these roads change names. It gets confusing. So you have Vanderbilt here. You have Belmont University here. The houses over here are beautiful. You have a lot of older homes that have been, renovated. Just really cool mansion-like homes, especially over like right by Belmont. Belmont Boulevard here has some beautiful homes. This is a great area to be in. You're also getting over to 12 South. So you have the, I believe, a Nashville mural here. I'm not sure how those became so famous, but we have them, and that's a good spot. I mean, they have some of these. You'll have lines down the street, people waiting to take their picture in front of these. This is a cool area. I've also done a video on 12 South if you want to look more into that area. But Sevier Park here is a beautiful park. They have a newer complex there where workout facilities, things like that. They have outdoor basketball courts, and they have a farmers market that takes place there. It's an awesome spot. So if you're, and people walk this neighborhood too. It's a beautiful area. Parking is an issue on 12 South. 12 South has tons of restaurants and cool local shops. But if you live in the area, you're going to have people parking in front of your house probably because there's not a ton of parking. Wedgwood, Houston. This area you're very much in downtown. You feel like you're in Nashville right off of Wedgwood Avenue here. Here's the soccer stadium. It is an awesome soccer stadium. I've heard it's the largest stadium in the country that is soccer specific. It's a really good time. I don't know my soccer teams yet, but I want to get into it now that we have our own. But that's right there. That's something else too to keep in mind. So this whole area here, parking on game day is a little crazy. So you'll have, there's just people everywhere around here. It's a good spot. It's a good place to live over here because again, you're so close to everything. It's a quick Uber ride into wherever you're trying to go. And then let's get into Chestnut Hill a little bit. So Wedgwood, Houston is really close to Chestnut Hill, and all this area is just being developed like crazy. Martin Street here, that used to be really nothing, now has breweries, restaurants, all kinds of shops and stuff. And Chestnut Hill, this area over here is just crazy. I can't even tell you all the things that are happening right there in a good way. So you have Soho House just opened up. That's over here. I went to an event there for the first time. They've taken these old warehouses and they've kept that old structure, which I really like, that they keep some of the historical elements to it and just did awesome things to the inside of these buildings. Keep this area in mind. Prices are rising quickly, and you definitely have a downtown feel at that point. And I will say too, once you kind of get into this area, the Gulch, and when you're in this area, this is when you'll start seeing the pedal taverns and you'll see the bachelorette parties, which I'm sure you've heard about. It gets a little crazy down here. You also have Edge Hill here, which has really cool restaurants. Barcelona is one of my favorite restaurants. The Gulch is a cool area. My office used to be here. It's fun. You have everything you need here. Let's zoom in a little bit. It's definitely touristy as well, but you got the Peg Leg Porker, which is a great barbecue spot. Arnold's Country Kitchen. There's been TV shows that they always seem to go there when they're doing food in Nashville. It's like a meet and three. The Gulch though is a great place. There's several condos here. Icon in the Gulch is one of my favorite, mainly because of the amenities. You have pools and workout facilities on 2 different levels. And again, you're right in the middle of everything. Here's another mural. This one is probably the most famous one. This is where the line is the longest. So I do have a picture in front of it. I can't lie, but I still don't understand why people do it. So you come over west a little bit. This street here, Demonbreun, by the way, it's not Demon Bruin. You come a little bit west, you get on your way to Midtown, but Demonbreun here, you have Tin Roof. Tons of little restaurants and bars right here. There's a lot of college students who hang out here, and you have this roundabout here. This is where the naked statues are. If you've never seen the naked statues, I don't know. I don't really understand our art here in Nashville, but I'm sure it has some important significance, but I haven't figured it out yet. Virgin Hotel right here. You keep coming over here a little west, and you have Midtown. So you have winners and losers, which is a fun concept. You have Kung Fu over here, a fun place with a bunch of games and stuff. You have Chewy's over here. So this whole area is it's crazy. I will say if you're thinking about moving into, especially this area, the Gulch is actually not too bad as far as noise, is at least that I know of. I've never heard from clients that it's too loud. Midtown though, there's a lot of complaints from the people who live here about the music and stuff, because there's live music that happens over here late into the night. So there's been a lot of going back and forth on what's the right thing to do in that situation. So just know, if you're going to live in this area, know that you definitely aren't going to get to sleep at 8 or 9 p.m. Okay, so let's get into downtown. Downtown, there are several condos, some apartments that you can live in here. They're building a Four Seasons right here on First. There's a 14 million one. I think the penthouse is at 14 million right now. So if you want to go see that one, hit me up. Be happy to show you that one. Then they have the Encore, have the Viridian, a couple other condos. Amazon just built their headquarters on Church here, kind of in the North Gulch area. Have the YMCA here, which is a nice one. This whole area, the Grand Hyatt, in between the Grand Hyatt and Amazon here, is a huge development happening. That'll be a fun one. Keep an eye on that. A music venue, upscale movie theater, whatever that means. Tennessee State University here. You have some other universities up here. You have Fisk up here as well. Let's go up here a little bit. I want to show you Germantown. Well, first, before I do that, First Tennessee Park here. This is where the Sounds play, the minor league baseball team. This is a really cool stadium. They also recognize that most people don't care about minor league baseball. I love baseball, but not everyone wants to watch. So they have an area to play ping pong and putt putt and cornhole and all that stuff too, which is fun. So Bicentennial Capitol Mall State Park here. This is a really cool area. You can walk around. Germantown. I love Germantown. You can see here all these restaurants here. So a lot of the houses here also have rooftops, and you have a great view of downtown. A lot of them are the tall skinnies that I was talking about earlier, but they've done a really good job with the construction in this area. Salem Town here, to me, it's the same. You're just a little further away from these restaurants, but to me, it has the same feel and vibe of Germantown. What's happened here, though, is development moved west. So you have over here Buena Vista. This area has tons of new construction now, as this area, is pretty much finished being built out. Have some good restaurants. Slim and Husky's Pizza is an awesome one. They're also now at the Titan Stadium, which is fun. Then you get into North Nashville. Here's Fisk, and lots of development happening over here. You can still potentially find a deal in this area, a deal depending on what your definition of that is, but there's still several houses that are being renovated and new builds over in this area. All right, so let's get down south a little bit. I want to show you the area, the other side of the river here, specifically where Topgolf is. And if you've never been to Topgolf, I highly recommend it. This whole area here is being developed. They're calling it River North. I don't know what the end result is gonna look like, but it's gonna be a huge development. They're supposed to build a walking bridge over the Cumberland here somewhere to connect it to Germantown. We'll see if that happens or not. There are some big ships, boats that come through here, so it'd have to be a pretty high bridge, but obviously there's other bridges so they can make it happen. Now we're getting into the west side of East Nashville at this point, but these properties here, they're already climbing. But once they announce this, people are keeping an eye out on this area because they think that the property values are going to continue to climb because of that. Also want to show you one more thing before we get into East Nashville. The Nissan Stadium, go Titans. They are building a new stadium. They have plans out now that aren't finalized. It's going to be cool. Right now, there's really not a whole lot going on around the stadium as far as places to hang out before and after the game, except just crossing the river and going over to Broadway in that area. The new development they're planning on adding a lot of restaurants, a lot of areas to hang out. So we're actually excited about it. Some people don't like the idea of spending the money, but I think it's going to be cool. And again, this whole area over here, not that East Nashville needs anything else to increase their values, but it's going to be cool. So let's get into East Nashville. You have Main Street right here. Main Street turns into Gallatin Pike. As you come up Main Street right here, you have the 5 Points, which is obviously 5 streets joining together at one spot. And you have a lot of stuff. Pizza, you have Rosemary's, you have Red Door over here, you have live music that happens. This is really the central location for East Nashville. Around that is really expensive homes. You have Laughlin Springs over here, which is beautiful. I love East Nashville. The character of the houses in East Nashville are really cool. You have a lot of older homes that have been preserved, they've been renovated, and it's a really good spot. You pay for it, obviously, but it's a really cool spot. I just like the atmosphere and the vibe over in East Nashville. They got the Frothy Monkey there too. South over here, you have Shelby Hills, Vinnie Links Golf Course, a par 3 course, which is fun if you're working on your short game. You have Shelby Bottoms over here. This whole area is beautiful. Lots of hiking, lots of trails. The Greenway is also over here, so that greenway takes you all the way up into Inglewood, which is further north up here. But this is a really good spot here. But East Nashville has a ton of restaurants, a lot of local places. I highly recommend it. And what happened here in East Nashville, see again, you have Gallatin here. A lot of the development started over on the east side of Gallatin Pike. I'm going to zoom out a little bit so you can see because it goes all the way up into Inglewood. Inglewood is here. It's kind of an extension of East Nashville at this point because all of that development went up this way, and then it also went west over to the west side of Gallatin Pike. So now this whole side over here is being developed, and it has been developed for several years now, but it seemed like it started right around here and moved that way. This is all, East Nashville. Again, Inglewood is its own area, but to me, it still feels like you're part of East Nashville. I used to live over there, and I was very close to getting to all this stuff. They also have Mitchell's Deli, some of the one of the best sandwiches you'll have in town. Check that place out. If you keep going north on Gallatin Pike, you'll run into Madison. So Madison is up here. Again, this is that 155 Briley Parkway. Kind of loops all the way around the city, so you'll see Briley Parkway a lot. But you get into Madison up here. Madison is kind of its own city as well. It doesn't really have that Nashville vibe to it. It has its own suburban type feel. And, they have a mall up here. They have their own Lowe's and all that stuff up here. And then it comes up here to Goodlettsville. There's not a whole lot to talk about up here, honestly. You see a lot of green. You got Jolts in here. I don't really spend that much time up here, honestly. Goodlettsville is there's a lot going on there, but you can see the line. It's there. So part of Goodlettsville is in Davidson County and part of it's not. So that's that area. Hopefully this gives you a better idea of what Davidson County looks like. I hope that helps you get some clarity on where you want to live. It definitely helps to see it. I've had clients where I take them to East Nashville and then I take them down to Brentwood, and it's definitely a different feel. Hopefully this helps you narrow down your search and what you're looking for. And if you have specific questions about an area, please reach out. I would love to talk to you and hear your questions, and I'd love to meet you. So call, text, email me, and I will see you on the next video. Later.